guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to do leg day and it's going to be on growing your glutes and specifically your hamstrings. So of course, before every workout, we're going to start with dynamic stretching. So that's stretching in motion. So it's not static stretching where you're staying in one place. We're constantly moving and we're really feeling that stretch within our body just so our glutes are activated and we're ready for the workout. Dynamic stretching, especially before a glute day, is so important. It's going to help you with glute growth. It's also going to help you prevent injury. You always want to start a workout with dynamic stretching. Dynamic stretching, it involves the movement, but it gently takes your muscles through a full range of motion. So like leg swings, leg lifts, and like what I'm doing now, you're moving and you're not staying in a static position. Contrary to static stretching where you're really feeling that stretch, it would be like if I stayed still right now and I really felt that stretch through my hamstrings. We're going to be doing that after the workout, but not before, because the main focus is to warm up our glutes and to get ready for the workout. The goal of dynamic stretching is to get your muscles ready for activity by mimicking the movements we're going to be doing. Doing these stretches before your workout is going to help you warm up your muscles and have better compound lifts. And then when we're all done with our stretching, we're going to be moving on to glute activation. So glute activation is going to actually help you grow your glutes. And for this, you're going to need a medium to strong band. And then 2 10-pound dumbbells are really going to help you feel the burn as well. So you're going to place the band just right above your knees, and doing these side kicks and back donkey kicks are going to help you activate your glute muscles and get ready for your workout. So I always start with just the band, and I usually do 2 sets of 10, and then I'm doing 2 sets of 10 with the band as well, but I'm putting 10-pound dumbbells in my knees, and you'll really feel this burn in your side glutes. Ever since I started doing this glute activation with the weights, I've noticed so much glute growth, but one thing it's really helped me with is mind to muscle connection during my lifts, because to be honest, my glutes are already burning, so when I get in my lifts, I have better mind to muscle connection. Make sure with this movement, you're keeping your core tight and your back should be flat. Lift one leg at one time like you're doing the side kick, but don't twist your hips. Make sure the movements are controlled, both up and down, and really try to focus in on the tension. Since this is glute activation, you shouldn't be rushing. You should really be focusing on mind to muscle connection and activating those glutes. For this movement, I usually do 10 to 15 reps, and I do 2 to 3 sets on both sides, and I usually just make sure my glutes are warmed up. So even if I don't feel them after 2 reps, sometimes I'll do more. It's just so important before your leg day, you have that glute activation because you're going to notice so much more glute growth. And then for my second glute activation movement, I do these kettlebell squats. I always start with doing 5 slow and controlled squats, really feeling the burn within my glutes. And then after I'm done the 5, I do 5 jumping squats, and I repeat this 3 times. And then now, since we're done with the dynamic stretching and with glute activation, we're getting into our first compound lift, which is going to be hip thrust. On leg day, if your goal is to grow your glutes, you should always start your workout with a shortened position exercise like cast glute bridges or hip thrust. When your glutes are in a shortened position, like when you're doing hip thrust, that means they're fully contracted. Hip thrust loads the glutes right there at the peak contraction. This is going to create maximum tension on the glutes when they're the strongest, leading to better activation, more muscle recruitment, and long-term growth. So with this exercise, I'm doing 10 hip thrusts, and then I'm doing cast glute bridges at the end. So I do my 10 banded hip thrusts, and then I do cast glute bridges to failure at the end. When doing your hip thrusts, you want to make sure you have a full range of motion. So we're moving that bar all the way up and down, and we're doing that for 10 reps. And then with cast glute bridges, that's really going to help you build the shelf on your upper glutes. We're going to do that to failure right after the hip thrust. So make sure that you're doing your hip thrust with a full range of motion. So the bar should be going up and down. And then when doing the cast glute bridges, you're just going to move that bar slightly to really target your upper glutes and feel that tension. It's so important when you're doing these compound lifts to have proper rest. You should be resting for 2 to 5 minutes. That's going to allow your ATP energy system to replenish, and then you'll be able to lift a lot heavier with your next rep. And then for my last 2 sets, I really try to train to failure. And then for my last superset, I'm lifting 540 pounds. But like I said, I'm only doing about 2 to 3 reps. And then I'm doing my cast glute bridges right afterwards. If you really want to see a lot of glute growth, you should be prioritizing lifting heavy and progressive overload with your compound lifts, so like hip thrusts, deadlifts, and squats. And then now that we're done with our hip thrusts and calf glute bridges, we're going to be moving on to deadlifts. Like I said, for an effective leg day, you always want to start off with a shortened position like calf glute bridges and hip thrusts, and then we're moving on to our lengthened position, which is today deadlifts. With deadlifts, it's so important to start with your feet hip width apart and soft bend at your knees and hold the bar close to your body. There shouldn't be a big gap between your legs and the bar. You should also be making sure to keep your chin tucked and to not be arching your back. Make sure to hinge at your hips, not your lower back. Push your hips back like you're closing a car door just with your glutes and keep the weight close to your legs. And stop when you feel the deep stretch within your hamstrings. Make sure to keep your back flat and your core tight and your neck neutral. Do not be rounding your back, and making sure that you're keeping your chin tucked and you're looking at the same place on the ground really helps me. I love doing all my compound lifts just in squats. It really helps me with my stability and just to feel it in my glutes. And I also use lifting chalk, which I got off Amazon. It's really amazing. It's going to help you with your grip, and that way you can focus on glute growth rather than the bar slipping out of your hands. With this exercise, I'm doing 3 sets of 12, so I'm starting with a weight I'm comfortable with, which is 25 pounds on each side, and then for progressive overload, we're going to be adding 25 pounds on each side with each set. Now that we're all done with our Romanian deadlifts using the barbell, we're just going to grab some 40-pound dumbbells and do some deadlifts with those. Like the barbell, our feet are going to still be hip width apart, but our toes are going to be slightly pointed outwards. That's going to help you isolate your glutes and really feel it in your side glutes. Make sure again that you're standing with your feet hip width apart and hold the dumbbells in front of your legs, palms facing forward, and keep a soft bend at your knees. Hinge at your hips by pushing your butt straight back. Keep your back flat and the dumbbells close to your legs, like you're sliding them up and down your thighs. Stop just below your knees or mid-shin, then drive through your heels and squeeze your glutes and stand tall. Don't lean back and overextend, and you don't need to be squeezing hard. Make sure that you're taking this movement slow and controlled, and this is going to help you isolate your glutes and your hamstrings. With this exercise, you're going to take it slow and controlled and really prioritize mind to muscle connection, and we're just going to be doing 3 sets of 12. And now, since we're done with our compound lifts, we're going to be moving on to our first single leg movement, and that's going to be RDLs, but just bending one knee to isolate one glute at a time. Doing one-legged RDLs is really going to isolate one glute at a time, helping you with glute growth. You want to make sure that you're doing the same thing as before. So we're standing tall and we're bending slightly at the knee, but we're just bending one leg back at a B stance to isolate that glute one at a time. Ever since I added this exercise in my leg routine, I've noticed so much more glute growth because you're able to isolate one glute at a time, but also it's going to isolate your side glutes. You also want to make sure you're keeping your chin tucked and also your core tight. And I usually do 4 sets of 5 on each leg, alternating each leg within each set. And now we're almost done the workout, but we're going to be moving on to the glute abduction machine. Ever since I started doing this exercise properly, I've noticed so much more glute growth. So you want to make sure that you're leaning slightly forward. That's going to isolate your glutes, and your toes should be pointed slightly out. Make sure that you're driving your knees out and squeezing your glutes at the top, and pausing for a second is really going to help you with that glute activation. Then return with control, but don't let the weight slam. This exercise is specifically going to grow your outer glutes, so it's so important to take these movements slow and controlled and really prioritize mind to muscle connection. This machine is one of the only machines in the gym that's going to completely isolate your glutes without putting strain on your back or your knees, so it's so important to use this machine properly. You want to be beginning with a weight you're comfortable with, but I love to train to failure with this exercise, and I usually try to max out. And then for our last exercise, we're going to hop on this and do 45-degree hyperextensions. With this exercise, you want to hinge at your hips to lower your torso down, but keeping your back flat. Then squeeze your glutes to lift your body until it's lined with your legs. Make sure not to overextend. You should be thinking glutes up, not chest up. Don't arch your back at the top and stop when your body forms a straight line. For this exercise, I usually do 10 to 15 reps, and I focus on the squeeze at the top, and I make sure not to rush. I take these movements slow and controlled, and this is great for isolating your glutes, and since this is the last movement, I make sure just to take my time. This exercise as well is amazing for your hamstrings, but it's really helped me create that shelf look, and it's really helped build my upper glutes. And that's all for the workout today. So if you guys like this video, I'd really appreciate it if you like and subscribe and comment any workout ideas you guys would want me to do next. I really appreciate you guys watching, and have a great day.